The administrator and the government. From the speech inaugurating a conference on administration science, New Delhi, on March 22, 1965, by Prime Minister Lal Bahadur Shastri. An administrator has obviously to administer the laws of the state and the policies of the government. The laws of the state are the product of certain basic ethical and social values, of social conditions, of political institutions, of historical developments, and of social and economic objectives. The laws thus reflect the policies of the people and the state. However, laws tend to be conservative. They have to be because they provide a framework around which the society develops. Policies, on the other hand, are more flexible. They produce the laws and also flow out of them. So an administrator, while he administers laws and their progeny, the rules, regulations and the directives, has to be conscious of the policies behind these regulations and the purpose for which they are intended to serve. An administrator is also a representative of the government. Governing, I realize, is not a very fashionable word these days, but it is the basic duty of the government to govern. Therefore, it becomes the job of administrator through whom the government functions. The basic idea of governance, as I see it, is to hold the society together so that it can develop and march forward towards certain goals. The task of the government is to facilitate the evolution, the progress. It must provide conditions with a proper climate for this purpose. While governing, the administrator must therefore keep certain trends in view. He should be aware of the policies which he has to implement and of the methods which are open to him for their implementation. He should know what the government wants and at the same time be attuned to the needs of the people. We have adopted a policy of planned development. Planning in various fields, agriculture, industrial and social, is being attempted on a truly massive scale. As far as the administration is concerned, this raises two important interconnected issues: planning itself and its implementation. Some projects, for instance big industrial ventures, can be both planned and executed centrally. But the vast majority of the plans have to be prepared and executed at the local level, and the local plans have, through the state plans, to fit in the larger framework of the national plan. How far the process of planning and its implementation should be centralized, and to what extent and in what ways decentralized, constitute important issues. The national objectives have to be fulfilled. At the same time, local initiatives must be fostered. These issues cannot be resolved in any simple fashion. Balance has to be achieved at different points in different sectors. The emphasis has to shift as the development progresses, as experiences gained, and as technical and managerial skills develop. The enormous stock of social and economic revolution and these tasks can be carried forward successfully only with the participation of the people. Obviously, the administrator has to go to the people. He has to identify himself with them. Yet, he must retain his own identity and maintain a certain aloofness so that he does not get embroiled in the local politics. To a certain extent, each man has to strike his own balance. But certainly, his task would become easier if the administrator is genuinely dedicated to the cause. Nothing influences people more than the true dedication and the spontaneous enthusiasm which it generates. The post-independent era has presented another problem that involves social and individual adjustments. This deals with the relationship between the politician and the administrator. To be more precise, between the public leader and the government servant. The problem has to be faced both at the local level and at the government level. If I may share a secret with you, at the district level, the politician generally prefers to be on the right side of the local administration. An administrator has to see that the politician continues to feel that way. He can ensure this only by his integrity. If his integrity is above board and if he is reasonably industrious. He must also realize that things have changed much in the last 20 years and are bound to change further. The administrator may be among the most enlightened men locally, but even if he is conscious of that, it should not be such that would make him feel superior or act superior. At the government level, normally we have experienced administrator and also experienced public men. I would also like to ask their pardon for saying so, but I believe that in the course of getting to this stage, many angularities get rubbed off. It is therefore comparatively easier for them to work together and to complement each other. I would like to refer to certain specialized areas of administration. Take for instance the district magistrate. To large sections of the people, he represents the government. He has always been responsible for law and order and is now increasingly responsible for the development activities at the local level. He needs both prestige and authority and at the same time humility and dedication. Efforts to sustain his authority will have to be continued for quite some time. Therefore, the persons who are placed in charge of districts must be carefully selected. They should be experienced and should be given enough time to understand the local problems. In the case of industrial undertakings in the public sector and other large nationalized services, the administrator should reasonably be familiar with technicalities and the commercial problems involved. He must also develop the art of management. The younger executives must receive the necessary training. This aspect must compel the attention of the top executives. Our industrial undertakings should be able to provide the necessary goods and services to the people at the lowest possible cost and efficiently and as quickly as possible. Cost consciousness and the need for an efficient system of accounting are therefore very necessary. To sum up, we have to develop a clean, efficient, versatile, sensitive and responsive administration. Above all, it has to be an administration in which people will have faith and confidence. This holds good today, but the demands on administration will become greater tomorrow. It is the tomorrow on which you should keep your eye.